What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing them the bacon MLB DFS video. It is Tuesday. It is June 18th. We are back with a full video. If you've never seen this channel before, welcome. Hopefully you learned something, which you can already tell by the time on the video. It's a little bit longer video, probably, than what you're used to. So you'll see other DFS channels, they will go through and they'll give you like 5 plays and then a couple of pictures. Sometimes they go into why they like those picks. Sometimes they don't. These are the core plays for the day. We do things a little different. So we go through everything. So you're going to see us, we're going to go through every single game. We have an early slate that starts 25 minutes earlier than the main slate. Then we have the rest of the games on a main slate. So we're going to cover both slates, which you can already tell by the chapters here. We're going to go through some of the batters we like. So after this entire video, if you need a little bit more help, in the description down below is the link to the article, which you can see right here on the screen. That will go through a handful of pitchers that we do like, and then some of the bats that we like there as well. So about 5 plays at each position for the day's slate. So that's part of it. If you are new to the channel, we have giveaways every single day. You have a chance to win 2 giveaways every single day. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. And we're going to go right into that real quick. And then we're going to discuss a couple of other things. So 2 ways to win every single day. The first way to win, like the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment on the video. If this video gets at least 50 likes and you've left a comment, you have a chance to win a free week of FTA+. Now, that week does include MLB, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, and then once NFL and NBA are back in full swing, it'll include those as well. If this video gets at least 100 likes and you've done the same thing, you have a chance to win a free month of FTA+. If this video gets 150 or more likes, a chance at a free $200 a year. And if this video gets 200 or more likes, you have a chance to win a lifetime pass worth $500. The second way to do this, somewhere in this video, I will have a keyword. I will say a keyword out there, and all you got to do is type that in there. And obviously, that will give you 2 opportunities every single day to win. We've never had the same person win the same day. We've had multiple people win multiple different times. So we're going to cover that real quick. We're going to go over those. So Monday's video got, let's see, it got over 50 likes. So we are going to have a giveaway here. So anytime we hit a minimum of 50, we're good to go. So 50, 100, 150, 200 are the thresholds. So we're going to roll this first, and we are going to see who the winner of the video is because we got a minimum of 50 likes on it. Even if the keyword is in their comment, we will still re-roll it for a different person. So the first winner, Pollock Hillbilly 4492. He has won before. Congratulations. You do have the keyword in there, but we are going to re-roll this anyway. You do have a chance to win a second time. So just email me dfshelp1@gmail.com just to remind me of your username on the website, and we will get you set up with that pass. So now we're going to re-roll it, and if we see TV or television, that'll be the winner there. And we've, again, never had the same person win the same day. Chris Torres, thanks for the support, did put baseball out there, does not have the keyword, so we are going to re-roll it here yet again, and we will see who the winner is. It's super easy. Chris Kramer, 2122. Congratulations. That's easy. That's as simple as it can get. So if you guys are watching, make sure you like this video. Make sure you are a YouTube subscriber. Hit the bell notification, and make sure you leave a comment on the video. You could be tomorrow's winner if this video gets a minimum of 50 likes. So what we're going to do is, like we've discussed, we are going to go through every single batter and pitcher that we enjoy on this slate. We're going to look at them, and we're going to see who we like, pitching-wise, batting-wise. We're going to do it all. So if you've got questions, comments, concerns, get those down below. If you want, maybe you have a couple of questions, you don't want to ask it on this video, in the description is the Discord link. Get into that Discord. A lot of back and forth. We give core plays out there on the Discord. We give a ton of information out there, and hopefully it helps you. And it's helped a lot of people. We've had multiple $20,000 winners lately, and I think we can taste it. We are getting so close to taking that huge GPP takedown. So at the end of the video, we are going to, so as of making this video, I'm doing 10,000 simulations. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you the top 20 bats after 10,000 simulations. And then I'm going to give you all of the bats that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating for the day. So on top of that, if you want to see ballpark factors, you want to see Vegas odds, all of that's on the website, and we do pictures and we put those photos in the Discord, so make sure you check that out. So we are gearing up. We are ready to go. We do have 4 games early, well, you can't play this game. For whatever reason, this game's earlier than normal. This is the first game we can play. So we're not going to cover this one because we're not going to do a showdown. If you want to do a showdown, you can do that on your own with all of the information we have on the website. Again, this article right here, under the MLB tab, we have all of that information right there. So make sure to check it out. So we're going to cover all of the games, all of the pitchers, all of the bats that we discuss in this video. Do not take into effect weather. So weather obviously changes so much. We will have that updated on the cheat sheet. We'll have that updated on everything that is FTA Plus. So speaking of FTA Plus, and I've had a couple of people ask, and they have been wondering, we still have a couple of coupon codes left. So if you've been on the fence about joining, it's $29.99 for a month, or if you use the promo code YouTube, all one word, all capital letters, you will get $10 off for the first month. If you've been on the fence, the best deal that we do have, the yearly pass, normally $199. If you use the promo code birthday, all one word, all capital letters, you will get $100 off. You can get the yearly pass for $99 instead of $199. So limited coupon codes on both of those. We've had a couple of people use the promo codes this weekend, so there's a couple less for each one. So if you're interested, go to the website, check it out, use the promo codes. So we're going to look at the games. Obviously, like I said, this game's not on there. We're not going to cover it. We're going to start with this game. Now, we look at the Reds of the Pirates, Nick Lodolo versus Bailey Falter, battle of the lefties here. We come in, which is wild because Nick Lodolo is more expensive than Aaron Nola, and we're going to look at numbers. We're going to look at to see why. But as you can see, this little early slate might be a little bit of weather concern in this game, especially at this price. This is definitely something that we want to discuss and consider moving forward. But again, weather changes so much between now and first pitch. It's hard to really narrow it down unless, it's going to downpour the entire game and they've already postponed it hours prior to the first pitch. But Lodolo coming in, averages 20.3 on DraftKings, 2.93 ERA, really good ERA here, 7-2 record, 62 strikeouts. Not being played in Cincinnati is a good one for him. We look at splits, home games, 321 at home. Again, Great American Small Park, the ball flies out of there, so his home numbers make sense to me. On the road, he is better, 2.55 ERA, kind of like when you have a Colorado Rockies pitcher. At home, 9 times out of 10, their ERA is going to be inflated at that ballpark, and their road ERA is going to be better. And that's kind of the same thing we see with Cincinnati pitchers. So we look at this one. On the road, 2.55 ERA, 30 strikeouts, so pretty consistent there. Gets to go up against Pittsburgh. It really depends on if everyone is in this lineup for Pittsburgh. But Lodolo, I do not mind. The problem is the weather. I don't know what we're going to get for this weather. So looking at Lodolo, I do like him. But kind of monitor the weather moving forward. See if it's going to be before the game, so maybe it is a delay. But if he starts, then it starts to rain, then they have a delay of any kind. Most likely he will be out of this game. So it's definitely something to monitor. I do like Lodolo. And then we take a look at Bailey Falter. We've used him a couple times this year, but he does have a 3.86 ERA, 3-4 record, 49 strikeouts. Hasn't really done much his last 2 starts, one against St. Louis, which we did stack against, and we did stack the Dodgers against him, where he only got 5 fantasy points there. But he's been okay against Toronto, pretty good against Atlanta and Chicago, up and down. I think Lodolo is more of your cash option today, especially on a little slate like this. I don't know if I'll be playing much cash, and I don't even know if I'll be playing a ton of this slate just because I don't normally play this early slate, but I wanted to give you guys that information. Bailey Falter tournament I'm okay with. I'm not going to have a ton of exposure to him. The bats are where we want to look. So we look at this battle of the lefties here. Now this is one of the tools on the website. You can check it out, but this is the batter splits. So what we want to do is you can go through, and for whatever reason, when I record these videos, this never loads, and I don't understand why. So give me a second. I'm going to open up it as the desktop, and you can do the same thing. You should have a button down at the bottom to do it. So we just kind of look. It's all the players. It's updated every day. So we look at this, and we want to look at, let's say you just want to look at Cincy bats against lefties real quick. Who has success, who maybe doesn't, and then you can break it down a little bit more. So looking at the batters here, the more green you get, the better, obviously. And you can see like Tyler Stevenson, we love to take him against a lefty. A catcher against Stevenson as a catcher against a lefty pitcher, I'm always in. That's what I want to do. So we look at this, lower walk rate, kind of a lower strikeout rate here. 483 slugging, 806 OPS, 224 ISO. I always want to get a little bit of exposure to Stevenson. I always want to give it a little bit of exposure to Jonathan India and Will Benson, and then if in Spencer Steer, but if you're going with any sort of Cincy stack, Ellie's got to be in there as well. So FanDuel, you kind of are looking at about a main stack. You would look at 4 batters. DraftKings, you're usually looking about a 5-2 stack, with 5 being your main stack here. So I do look at these. Candelario being a switch hitter, I don't mind him either. Lower, pretty high walk rate here. Middle of the road strikeout rate here, averages there. So you want to look at the more dark red you have, those are the better plays for the day. So these are other reasons as to why we build this out and get some of your batters for you for the cheat sheet. So if we look at Pittsburgh, McCutchen, 215 average, kind of high strikeout rate, but a 346 OBP, 385 slugging, 731 OPS. I always like to use him a little bit. We always like to go a cheap option with Michael A. Taylor if he's in there. Connor Joe's a big guy that I would look at. Cabrian Hayes I would look at as well. And then you could see O'Neal Cruz, big name, but a lot of red against lefties. Probably fade him a little bit and go with probably these 4 right here if I'm looking at a stack there. So that is a way to use the batter splits. We're not going to do that for every single game, because if we did that for every single game, we would be here forever, and this video would be an hour and a half long. And I just don't think you guys want that. I don't think it's feasible to have a game that long or a video that long. So we will move on. We will continue and look at all of the pitchers that are on the slate here as well. So looking at this, Mariners at the Guardians, Bryce Miller, who has never faced Cleveland before, against Tristan McKenzie. Now, I'm torn on this one. It'll depend on if Jose Ramirez is back for this game. But we look at Tristan McKenzie, comes in with a 4.10 ERA. Seattle does strike out a ton. We know this. If you've been with us before, you know this. He's already faced them once this year, only had 2 strikeouts, 4 earned runs, 5 runs total with 4 of them earned. That's a little bit sketchy for me. I'm probably off of him. I'm probably stacking. To be honest with you, I'm probably. I would assume if Jose Ramirez is out, Bryce Miller for tournaments I'm okay with. But if he is back, I'm probably not using pitching in this one. I'm not using pitching in that one for sure. So that's what we're looking at. I would just look at the bats in this one. So the Seattle and the Cleveland bats. So if he's back, obviously Jose Ramirez, Josh Naylor is one, David Fry is another one, Steven Kwan, Andres Jimenez I would look at. If, Seattle bats that I would look at against McKenzie, because he's been really up and down this year, and he has not had success in the one start against the Mariners. Cal Raleigh, big dumper, I'm getting him in there. Dylan Moore is another one I want in there. J.P. Crawford. Those are my main 3 that I would look at. Then obviously you can, you get value with Victor Robles, Locklear, or Bliss. But if Josh Rojas is up towards the top of this lineup hitting-wise, I do not mind him either. So most likely I will not go with pitching in this one. I will for sure go with bats in this one. Moves us to the next game. We got the Padres at the Phillies. You got Michael King versus Aaron Nola, which is crazy that Nola is down here at 8,500. He's got a 3.48 ERA. He's faced San Diego once this year. Got the dub in that one. Went 8 full innings, 3 earned runs, 10 strikeouts in this game. That's why I do not understand why he is this price, maybe because it's in Philly instead of San Diego, but it's still wild to see that he's not higher priced like this. I know he's had a couple of down games, but he's already had success against the San Diego team. So I love Aaron Nola, especially at this price of $8,500. I cannot believe he's there. And then you got Michael King. Michael King's had some good games. He's had some bad games. He's faced Philly once this year, gave up 6 earned runs in that game. I think it pretty much goes in that same order. I'm looking at Aaron Nola, and I am looking at the Philly bats against San Diego, or against Michael King. So Kyle Schwarber, boomer bust, but he's there. Brandon Marsh, Bryce Harper. I want to get these lefties in there, but I also want to get Alec Bohm in there. He's been one of the best first/third base men in the National League and hell in the MLB this season. So I'm looking at them. Castellanos is always up there, but some cheaper options if you're looking at Philly. Bryson Stott. David Dahl will be cheap. I do not know if he'll be in there. That is definitely something to look at. But you could look at Rafael Marchand, obviously taking the place of the injured JT Realmuto, which I would look at. So I'm looking at Nola, honestly, and I'll let you know tomorrow if I'm wrong, but I'm not going San Diego bats. I'm going Nola and Philly bats in this one. I don't want Michael King, and I really don't want any of the San Diego bats in this early slate. Then we got Arizona, Washington, the last game on this main slate. We got Slade Ciccone versus Jake Irvin. Ciccone's never faced them before, and Irvin, 42 plate appearances, 206 batting average. Ciccone's down here for a reason. He's got a 6.70 ERA, has not faced Washington. On the road, Ciccone, a better ERA. His ERA is up there because his 3 home starts, he's got a 13 ERA. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with him because he is 5,500. Because if you went with like Ciccone and then you went with Nola, you could still average about 4,500. Let's say you go Stevenson against a lefty, you can now average 4,600. Like, there's so many ways to go about this. Maybe you want Josh Naylor. Like, I could build you a lineup. It wouldn't, and some people like that, some people don't. Like, you could go a lot of places with these two pitchers as your pitcher that you're looking at. And then you got Jake Irvin. Don't know what we're going to get out of him. He's 7,800. He's not the cheapest. He's not the cheapest pitcher on the slate. Just kind of looking at this. Not faced Arizona this year. On the road, he is a little bit better, but this game is at home. Game log wise, had some really good games in a row. Arizona, their bats are up and down. Now, Corbin Carroll, I don't know if he's going to be in. He got injured on Sunday, I think. It was either Saturday or Sunday. Was getting some imaging done, so we'll see. He might just rest for a little bit. So that's a lefty bat out of this lineup here against Irvin. I don't mind Irvin. I think he's more of a tournament option, and that's kind of what I would look at. Batting-wise, honestly, I'm not looking at bats at the moment. I'm just looking at pitching in this one. So if there are bats that jump out, if they show up in the simulations at the end of this video, then we'll kind of discuss that. So that's kind of my thought in this early slate. Just kind of looking at all of the pitching there. I love Nola at his price. I'll have some exposure to Ciccone because he's 5,500. I don't know about Falter. I'm not using McKenzie. I am stacking Seattle against him. Lodolo, the weather scares me, but I don't mind him. I'm not using Michael King either. So 4-game early slate, it's there. Not my favorite slate of the year, but that's just kind of what we've got to look at there. So kind of looking at that kind of stuff. If you've got questions about slates, batters, pitchers, let us know. So that brings us to the main slate right here. Starting off, Orioles at the Yankees, Albert Suarez versus Nestor Cortez. Either the Yankees are going to give up the AL East lead to the Orioles, or they're going to grow this lead a little bit more than what it is. Now, the Yankees were embarrassed by the Red Sox over the weekend, losing 2 of 3. Nestor's, this is one that it's hard to know. Nestor at home is way better than Nestor on the road, but he does give up a ton of home runs. And obviously, Baltimore is a very, very, very good team. Cortez, 3.59 ERA is a respectable ERA for the year, but the splits, 1.77 at home, 5.57 ERA on the road. So he has brought his ERA down. It was like 8, I believe. A couple of bad starts in a row. They were, not very good against the Dodgers. 4 earned runs there. They lost 11-3. Gave up 2 home runs. It's been a minute since he's had a good game. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with Nestor, but I think I want to go with the bats in this one. Then you got Albert Suarez here. Where's he at? There he is. 7,400, 161 ERA. He's been good when he's out there. A couple of good games here against Atlanta. That's his best. Nope, his best game came back against the Angels, and then he had a good game against Minnesota. He's had success in the past against the Yankees. Away games, he's got a great ERA. The Yankees, it will really just depend on what offense comes out. So Rizzo's probably out for a while. I'm still waiting on news to hear if whatever the injury is. Glaber makes no sense. I am looking at bats on both sides. I'm probably not looking at the pitching. I'm at least not. I'll probably go Suarez for tournaments, just because. But Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball right now. He's been dominant. Juan Soto when he's in. I love Juan Soto against a righty batter or righty pitcher. Stanton is another one. It's really boom or bust for him. It's either a home run or probably a strikeout. I could see Austin Wells being in this game now that Trevino allowed 9 stolen bases on Sunday, which is wild. The only bats that I would not use for the Yankees, probably DJ LeMahieu, Rizzo, which he probably won't be in anyway, and Glaber. Those are the 3 batters that I probably wouldn't use. Then we look at the Orioles against Nestor. I mean, Gunnar Henderson, lefty on lefty, I don't care. Love him. Jordan Westberg. The only ones, Jorge Mateo might be a cheap option if he's in there. That is one. Santander always seems to just eat up the Yankees no matter who it is. He's a switch hitter. I don't mind him either. So I love the Orioles as well. I could see this being a high-scoring game with both teams scoring. I'm probably going Suarez for tournaments, probably fading Nestor. He can always have a vintage game facing one of his old teams, but I'm probably avoiding that. Red Sox at the Blue Jays. You got Tanner Houck versus Chris Bassett. Houck, 48 plate appearances, 302 batting average. Chris Bassett, 32 plate appearances, 125. You never know what we're going to get out of Bassett. So 3.56 ERA. Home games, got a 4.12 ERA, so it's a little bit worse at home. Having not faced the Red Sox this year, we'll kind of see. Coming off a middle-of-the-road game against Milwaukee, fantastic game against Oakland because you're supposed to. Tournament-wise, I think in this game, Houck is your cash option, and Bassett is your tournament option. Houck's really good, especially on the road, 166 ERA. Fantastic numbers out of him. You never know what you're going to get offense-wise from the Red Sox. They're either going to get blanked or they're going to steal 9 bases. There's really no in-between. So obviously if he goes at minimum 5 innings, they give him run support, and Bassett gives up runs, then he could be in line for the extra fantasy points from the wins. We just don't know if that's ever going to happen. So we look at that, and I love Houck here. Bats-wise, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure the bats that I would look at completely, but obviously Devers is always one you want to look at. Tyler O'Neill, Jarren Duran. I think I like Duran more than O'Neill. Connor Wong had a good Sunday. You could look at him. Rafaela, if he's batting 9th, I still like him a little bit. Jamie Westbrook would be a cheap option for an infield position today. And if you think Houck's going to have a bad game, honestly, there's not a ton of Blue Jays bats that I consider. Vladdy I do consider. Davis Schneider I consider. Danny Jansen. Bo Bichette for tournaments maybe. Addison Barger and Spencer Horwitz for tournaments. I don't mind. Still cheap option with Spencer Horwitz there. So I think cash for Houck, Bassett for tournaments, but I won't have a ton of exposure to Bassett today. Then we got the Tigers at the Braves. You got Casey Mize versus Spencer Schwellenbach. So Mize really hasn't seen them much. Schwellenbach because Atlanta's pitching has been decimated this year. Mize has also been lit up. 4.43 ERA, has not faced Atlanta this year. Coming off a decent game here against Washington, but other than that, he's been bad a majority of the time this year. I'm probably looking at Atlanta bats. Schwellenbach, 6.32 ERA. Couple of decent games. Not really. He has not hit value. What you're looking for value, 2.5 times value. So 7,000 times 2.5 is what you're looking for, or whatever their salary is. I'm probably off of both of these pitchers, and I'm just focused on Atlanta bats. if you're ever going to have a stack for the Braves, Marcell Ozuna has to be in there. I love Marcell Ozuna. I would look at him. I would look at Matt Olson. Jared Kelenic will be a little bit cheaper for the Braves today. Ozzie Albies could be there. Orlando Arcia. It just really depends on the lineup that comes out. Forrest Wall. If Forrest Wall comes in, he is $2,500. Now, obviously, he got called up on Monday, and so got called up playing there. Michael Harris is on the IL for however long now. So Forrest Wall could be a cheap option at $2,500. Definitely something to look at, especially if you're making a Brave stack and you want to fit all of the good batters in. You're going to have to find a Forrest Wall or a cheap option there. So I do not mind them. With Schwellenbach being bad, the Tigers bats that I would look at, I love Riley Green. You guys know this. I love Matt Vierling. I don't mind Gio Urshela a little bit. Mark Canha might be in there. Winfield Perez, a cheap option. Justin Henry Malloy could be another one you could look at as well. So I do not want pitching in this game. Bats are the way to go. I don't even want tournament pitching here. We got the Rays coming up here. Tampa Bay Rays versus Pablo Lopez. We got Aaron Savale versus Lopez. Now, Lopez has looked weird this year. Not what we're used to, for sure. So let's dig in to both of these pitchers. I don't think we've used Savale nor Pablo Lopez at all this year that I can remember. Savale comes in, 5.20 ERA, splits-wise, has not faced many this year, playing on the road, 6.37 ERA on the road. And then he's had a couple of good games, like 18.6 against the Cubs, 1 earned run there with 6 Ks. But then against Baltimore, 4 earned runs. Baltimore there, 1 earned run, but 11.8 fantasy points. He's not hit double, like 2.5 times value. Minnesota's been hitting the hell out of the ball lately. I think that probably continues here. For whatever reason, Pablo Lopez is 9,000 with a 5.33 ERA. He's going up against Tampa Bay, who, their offense is not very good this year. That's proven. A decent game against Colorado. Had a ton of run support there, so he didn't have to go deep into the game. And it's Colorado, so we'll give him that. But then against the Yankees, minus 3.6. Houston, 25.6, which that's kind of what we're used to, is like 20 to 20 and a half, or 25 out of Pablo. But he's only averaging 15.4 this year. And then against Texas, 5.1, 1.9, 8.3. A good game against Seattle, 10 strikeouts. They strike out a ton. But then he's had way more bad games. Tournament-wise, I think maybe I'm okay with Pablo Lopez just because of how bad the offense of Tampa Bay has been. But they put up runs this year too. I'm probably going to fade pitching in this one and go with the bats for Minnesota. So my thought in this game, Minnesota bats over everything else. None of the Tampa Bay bats really do anything for me, which they might. You never know. If you're going with Tampa, maybe because how bad Lopez has been this year against certain teams, maybe the Tampa Bay bats show up. We'll see. The bats that I would even consider would be Brandon Lau, Yandy Diaz, Isaac Paredes. I'm probably fading Tampa Bay. I'm just going Minnesota. Minnesota bats, Royce Lewis, got to get him in there. He's been on fire lately. Carlos Correa is another one I would look at. Byron Buxton's another one I would look at. You've got Carlos Santana, I do not mind, and Willie Castro's another one. Cheaper options if you're trying to figure out who to go with and you can't pay up for everybody. Maybe a Kyle Farmer, an Austin Martin, Jose Miranda if he's in there. I don't know if he will be. I love a Minnesota stack. Go with the big names, Royce Lewis has to be in there. And I just don't trust Tampa Bay enough to even consider their offense or pitching at this point. I might be wrong. I'm not 100% right all the time. I'm just not going that direction here. So then the next game on the slate, we have Giants at the Cubs. You got Logan Webb versus Justin Steele. I actually like both of these pitchers. I think Webb is your cash option. I think Steele is your tournament option. I really don't want to go. I don't think they've faced each other this year. Let me just double check. Steele, splits-wise, has not faced San Francisco this year. And then Logan Webb has not faced the Cubs this year. Webb has been up and down, though. He's averaging 17.2, which is a little bit lower than what we would like here. I will have some exposure to him. I won't have a ton. And the bats really don't jump out to me right now. Maybe they will after simulations, but my thought process, I'm going with pitching here. I'm not really looking at the bats yet, unless the weather and the ballpark factors have the wind blowing directly out in Wrigley, then we would look at bats. So in that case, if you want to look at it, FTA Plus will have player projections, simulations, everything you need, ballpark factors, Vegas numbers, that'll all be there. You're able to use that information on top of everything else. So if you do need a little bit more help after this video maybe was good but didn't have what you were looking for or didn't have the projections, check out FTA Plus. That is on the website there. So right now, I'm probably looking at pitching here, not looking at bats at the moment. Webb for cash and Justin Steele for tournaments. Then you got the Mets at the Rangers. We've got Sevy, who has had success against this Rangers team, or at least the batters. 49 plate appearances, 178. And then Michael Lorenzen gets a juicy matchup against the Mets. We know the Mets have won a few games in a row. They're still the Mets. Lorenzen's, I don't know. I'm a little bit like, you never know what you're going to get out of him. So Sevy coming in, 3.12 ERA, has not faced Texas this year. Coming off, not really a good start against Miami. Only gave up 1 earned run, 6 innings, 2 strikeouts, but only had 9.5. Obviously not enough tournament-wise, or not enough at all, even cash. Basically, for pitchers, you need a minimum of like 18 fantasy points, unless every single one of your batters go off for home runs or multiple home runs. So Sevy's, tournament-wise, I think I'm okay with Sevy. Because, again, Texas is a really good hitting team. And then if we look at Lorenzen, 8,000, 286 ERA, home games, 342 ERA, so 4 less games. Coming off a good game against the Dodgers, 7 innings in that game with only 2 strikeouts. So the strikeouts have been low past couple of games. 7 against Miami, 4 against Minnesota. Does have a great matchup here, but if you think you're going to fade both of these pitchers because maybe you think the offenses decide to show up and go all out, we could look at this. So the Mets bats that I like, we have Brandon Nimmo, JD Martinez, Starling Marte, Lindor, and Pete Alonso. Very expensive bats there. If you want to go a couple of cheap options, if they're in, Francisco Alvarez for catcher, Jose Iglesias maybe a little bit, and Mark Vientos. I do not mind those guys either. Just depends on the direction that they're going to go in this game. I'm probably leaning. I think both pitchers are probably tournament only for me. I don't think I'm going to trust them enough in cash. And then if you think they're both going to get lit up, Texas bats, I would look at Corey Seager against Sevy. I do not mind at all. Adolis Garcia, Nate Lowe. Jonah Heim should be back for this game from paternity. He might be out. If he is back, I do like him. I love Wyatt Langford. He's getting some stolen bases here. Those would be the ones that I'd look at in this game. Again, maybe we've overlooked a couple of the batters, but those are the ones that I would focus on if I were making a stack of either bats or pitchers in this game here. Then we get the Astros at the White Sox, but before we get there, the key word of the day is haircut, because your boy needs a haircut. Need one bad. Haircut. So, we got the Astros. You got Framber Valdez, but it's got a great matchup. So if you look at this, 59 plate appearances, 385 batting average, which would be like, whoa, what's going on there? Maybe it's 1 or 2 people. Andrew Vaughn's 5 for 15, 333. Then you got Luis Robert Jr., 4 for 8. That's a 500 batting average. 3 for 7 is 429. So it is inflated a little bit. Then you got Jonathan Cannon. I think Framber Valdez is cash, Cannon is tournaments, just because the Astros offense, they can put up a ton of runs, but they've also been blanked a lot this year. Jonathan Cannon, we used him against Seattle last week. Why? Because if you're with us, you know that I love to target a pitcher against Seattle because they strike out a ton. 7 strikeouts in that game, 4 hits allowed, did wonders there. Ended up losing the game 2-1, but he didn't get any run support. That's the problem. Cannon for tournaments, I'm okay with. Then you got Framber Valdez, third highest priced pitcher at 9,300. Does have a 3.98 ERA. It is up there, coming off a bad game at San Francisco, but he's going up against the White Sox. Home game or away games 3.77, so he's been a little bit better away. But honestly, maybe we don't use Framber Valdez. Maybe the White Sox are a sneaky stack today. Let's just look at the bats. Luis Robert Jr. obviously has to be in your White Sox stack if you have a White Sox stack at all. Looking at that, Astros bats, obviously Yordan would be one. Altuve's another one. Yanner, Diaz, Bregman, and Pena. But if you want to look at a White Sox stack against Framber, Luis Robert Jr., I don't mind. Tommy Pham against the lefty, we always like to use. Same thing with Andrew Vaughn. I don't mind him. If you're on the narrative train and you think revenge games are a thing, Corey Julks getting traded from Houston to the White Sox, he could be a bat that you could look at as well. So I think a sneaky stack today could be the White Sox. Tournament only. Don't put a ton of your money into a White Sox stack, but it should allow you to pay up at other positions on this main slate today. So I might go, if I make like 20 lineups, I might have one or two with Chicago in there. Next game, we got the Dodgers at the Rockies. Walker Buehler versus Austin Gomber. I pretty much don't want to take a pitcher in this one. I just rather go bats. Obviously, Mookie Betts fracturing his hand is not ideal for DFS, for the Dodgers, or for my formidable, dominating season-long league. That's a bat out of there. But a Dodger stack against Austin Gomber, I love. Teoscar Hernandez, wouldn't be surprised if he has two plus home runs today. He'll be one of my home run picks. Teoscar loves hitting lefties, and this ballpark might not be able to contain the ball at all. He's my number one. Shohei, obviously, has got to be in your lineup. Miguel Rojas could be a sneaky option. Will Smith against the lefty, you can always use. Kike Hernandez, pretty much every single batter in this game for the Dodgers, I do not mind. Rockies bats, it's Ryan McMahon, Montero, Tovar, Brenton Doyle, and Jacob Stallings would be the only ones I'd look at. I don't think I'm going to have any exposure to Walker Buehler. If we look at him, he's 7,300, 4.64 ERA. He's already played Colorado once this year. 6 hits allowed, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 7 strikeouts, got the loss in that game. I'm probably not using Buehler, especially in this one. I would go with the bats. Stacking, obviously the Dodgers have the better chance, but Austin Gomber can give up some runs as well. I think Buehler could give up some runs here too. Brewers at the Angels. Tobias Myers versus Griffin Canning. Myers has never faced them before. Comes in at 6,500, so a cheaper option. 3.76 ERA. A couple of really good starts in a row against Toronto and Detroit. Myers for tournaments, I don't mind at all, especially at 6,500. This will allow you, like a pitcher at that price, allows you to pay up for the Dodgers stack since they're so expensive in Coors. Yeah, that's what I would look at. And then Griffin Canning, I want nothing to do with Griffin Canning. I'd rather look at Milwaukee. So honestly, I would look at Milwaukee bats here a little bit more than the Angels. I would be looking at William Contreras, if he's in there, Christian Yelich, Jake Bauers, Gary Sanchez, Willie Adames, Joey Ortiz will be a cheap option. Rhys Hoskins is another one. Angels bats outside of Ward, O'Hoppe, and Adele, I really don't like any of the other ones. So I'll have some exposure to Myers. I won't have any exposure to Canning, and I will have exposure to the Milwaukee stack. And then the final game, Royals at the Athletics. Yeah, Alec Marsh versus Hogan Harris. So Marsh coming in. Overall, 3.63 ERA, has not faced Oakland this year. It's in Oakland. We always love to take it. He had a really good game against the Yankees. It's the one game that they won. 7 innings, 1 hit allowed in 7 innings. Then the bullpen came in. Then we know that they walked it off against the Yankees on Sunday or on Friday. On Thursday. Jeez, the weekend went by quick. Alec Marsh against Oakland, I love. 7,600. He allows you to go other places too. So if you went with like a Cannon and Myers is cheap, or Cannon and Marsh, or Cannon and Suarez, very cheap options today. Then that allows you to get into the bats that we like. Kansas City bats outside of the Yankees series have been amazing overall. Bobby Witt Jr. against Hogan Harris, I love. Salvador Perez, I love. Michael Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, cheap option Freddie Furman or MJ Melendez. I love a Kansas City stack against Hogan Harris. I want nothing to do with Hogan Harris. I want nothing to do with the Oakland Athletics bats. There you have it. That is the breakdown. That is everything for this Tuesday slate. Can't play this game. And we've got 14 other games we just addressed. If you got comments, questions, concerns, get those down below. Or always feel free to check out. You can email us. You can hit us up on Twitter at @advisors_team. Or you can hit up our Discord in the description of this video. But now, we've come to the end. We are going to look at the top 20 bats after 10,000 simulations. Now, these are updated. We'll do about 20,000 simulations, usually updated about a couple of hours before first pitch for the main slate. So, paper and pen, whatever you need to get ready to check this out. Here we go. Number 1 is Will Smith. Number 2 is Shohei. 3 is Trevor Larnach. 4 is Aaron Judge. 5 is Fernando Tatis Jr. 6 is J-Rod. 7, TJ Friedl. 8, Josh Lowe. 9, Nolan Jones. 10, Ellie De La Cruz. 11, Teoscar Hernandez. Surprised he's not up higher. 12, Jose Miranda. 13, Freddie Freeman. 14, Jose Altuve. 15, Jurickson Profar. 16, Chris Morel. 17, Ryan McMahon. 18, Mike Tauchman. 19, Juan Soto. And number 20 is Willie Castro against Aaron Savale. Now, all of the batters that have a 10 out of 10 rating, not very many this week or this day. Will Smith, number 1. Shohei Ohtani's 2. 3 is Trevor Larnach. 4 is Jurickson Profar. 5, Juan Soto. 6, Carlos Santana. 7, Corey Seager. 8, Spencer Steer. 9, Salvi Perez. 10, Joey Ortiz. And number 11, Tyler Stevenson versus Bailey Falter. So, there you have it. The entire breakdown, the entire slate, all the pitchers, all the hitters that we like, some of the top bats on here. If you need a little bit more help, we've got a cheat sheet. Now, this cheat sheet's from yesterday, but we break it down. The blue are cash options for every single position. The orange are tournament options. Then these are the stacks that we like against the pitchers that we like. Then on top of that, if you're looking for, we've got chalk. So the chalk helps you out. That's another way to go about it. We've got ownership. Both Fanduel and DraftKings ownerships are on there. So you guys can check out the projected ownerships. We've got a weather tab. We do have lineups to start as a starting point, not an end-all, be-all. Like I said, use these as starting points. Don't just copy-paste. Fanduel Cash Tournament, main slate, early slate, DraftKings, same thing. Boomstick shots, if we predict who's going to hit a home run, we put it on there as well. So a great starting point, but you are not signing up for FTA Plus for lineups. If that is the case, just go to find some lineup sellers who don't go into the research and do everything that we have done in this video, and that is it. So hopefully this video did well for you. Hopefully you have success. Good luck on this Tuesday slate. And as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace.